One thing about wearing glasses, if you've been crying, you can't really like see through them. Oh man. It's annoying. So that's how this is gonna start. I like the idea of opening the doors and exposing the vulnerable and just being honest in the moment. So it's emotional for me today. I'm thinking about so many things, so it's not any one thing, but some things are stronger than others. And like the idea of death is very prevalent, and like not just like people passing, but also like all the things maybe you need to say in case you are the one to die or something. Anyway, I'm getting a procedure done next week, so maybe that's like also on my mind. They have to like sedate you or whatever. But just like a combination of everything all stirring, you know, and that's when the emotion maybe flows. So in my world, I want to like be present with it, admit that that's what's really happening, because that's like how you let it flow and move through you. The other great thing is, well, let's make some art around this emotion, because when you start working like daily all the time with any kind of mood, it will really change you, I guarantee it. So it's not always about that joyful moment, and it's not always about like the end product. It's about this processing of the process, and then how we can utilize the energy, emotionality, and move that into a mark in a moment. I also want to say that I've been taking some time, so I've been a little like in this like weird holding cell, and I think that's the culmination of these tears. Like what is next? I know what's next is working on my solo show, my second one this year, and there's some like antidotes and things over here as inspiration, but right now I'm not gonna like think about that or worry about any of that. I'm just gonna work with the emotionality that's flowing through me. I'm gonna take this wall down, the stuff behind me, and because I need the space, and I'm just gonna flow into the mark in the moment using this feeling state. And the other thing is like when you start to feel into the moment, take a moment, you know, it's not just the sadness of like grief that's here right now. There's also this like wild abandon and this surrender, and you know, all the new things moving, trying to push up through that grief and that sadness, you know. So it's holding it all, right? And entertaining maybe the dominant thing that's happening during the day, and allowing that to be the thing that carries you into the mark in the moment. It can be really powerful, and over the last decade I've definitely noticed the difference. And of course it takes time, and it takes attention and tending to, just like when we're like feeling all the stuff, you know, in our heart, it takes time to work itself through, and some things will be forever change you, you know. You just never know what that is, or when, or why. It's just like being in appreciation and gratitude for that, and knowing that we can feel it all. It's kind of a gift too, if we allow it in and invite it in, and let it be what it wants to be. So in the past, people asked for a slowed down version of what is happening, but it's not always the easiest thing to do because there's a lot of considerations and tiny moments that can happen in relation to just grabbing a material. So it's gonna probably be more like dragged out in that sense, in real time. Because as much as the intuitive comes online and aligns through this emotionality and energy, there's still thinking involved. Like, maybe I see green in my mind, but you know, I gotta think to pick it up. And here, these are just drawing sheets of paper. I want to stress that it doesn't really matter what materials you're using. It's how you bring yourself to the page, the mark, the moment, and everything you lived through in order to be here now. So we can get bogged down by materials, thinking that if I only have the right XYZ, if I only get that new notebook, if I only blah, blickety blick, blah, blah, then you'll do the thing, but that's usually just a distraction. You're telling yourself you're not enough in that moment to just create what you want to create. And oftentimes I'm just grabbing what's around me. Ooh. Including this piece of a poem. To find that freedom, you know, you don't even need a paintbrush. this paper. What's cool about like a using a non-tool tool, I guess, is you're gonna have you can't really control this, and it's gonna create like a difference. Especially if you want to like loosen up, then you want to go this way more, because you're not gonna just like say take this and go and of course you might need a bigger brush, so maybe you can't, what if you couldn't afford one, let's just say aha, instant brush. You know what I'm saying? So when we think outside of the box, not just in art but in living, there's so much possibility there. We're not necessarily worried so much about, do I have the XYZ? Am I mixing this color right? Blue. All the stuff that can really get in the way. So this is mixed media, and it's a variety of like soft pastel, acrylic paint, and I'll probably bring in some other mixed media materials. Again, I'm not a brand specific person. I say, if you see something out there that you like, no matter what the monetary amount is, just buy it and try it. I've tried very expensive things and I do not like them as much as something, say, cheaper. It holds up better. It has even a better pigmentation. And, you know, it's not always the best thing, the fanciest thing. I want to say that because it's true. So in my world, I see like the hierarchical structures that be kind of get in the way of not just creativity and art, but everything, you know. And that could be a whole nother video. So I don't want to get into that too much now. Like, this is just a colored pencil. Not brand specific. Now, when we talk about moving the energy and the emotionality, you know, maybe you're feeling, you know, all that stuff I just said, the grief and the tears, and it can be expressed in a multitude and a multiplicity of ways. you know, like I could be like, oh, blue, sad. Like I could assign that. I can assign like the color to the value of the emotionality. Or, you know, it could just be an energy, like this. This is yellow. So I'm gonna do this. You know, like I kind of let it out. But look, it's yellow. So I'm not, yeah, I was maybe feeling that heaviness, but what it's not necessarily the color, it's the, woo! It's the, you know, the release. So like, it becomes this like full body process. Especially in this raw, intuitive, emotional, expressive, abstract work. Did I cover it all? A lot of people ask about like freedom. How do we loosen up? Well, it's 1, don't worry about the materials. 2, work with what you got. Today I have the sadness and it's really there, and I'm like, oh. And I cried, and but now I'm like trying to move that through my body, right? And there's different ways to do that. We can work out, yoga, XYZ, like, but do what resonates. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just like, what is the most useful thing for you? Here we're doing this abstract, expressive, raw art, you know? So it could be anything. So in relation to, I don't want to stay stuck. I want to move it through me. So it's the emotionality is the perfect way in to express a wild and free mark. But that could be scary if we've been holding and hiding for so long, or we've never let it out. You know, when like this. It can feel, maybe it has like that scream in it. Woo! So when we're like grounding into that body and opening up those channels and taking this and going, you know, it's visceral, it's raw, it's emotional. That can feel unhinged, but when you start to learn to work with all the emotionality, the unhinged kind of becomes so fun and like free, more free in the process of it all. So now, like, I am accessing the picture plane. Dark. Yellow is probably dark, but I'm not really working on the value as much as I'm using the paper as my light. That's always a good trick in. So you always have a light value. So then you can just work through these spaces and places, and it's like already prevalent. Like I can let go of that whole hierarchy structure and just kind of like it actually is narrowing the playing field by saying I don't really care about the value scale. I'm gonna look at the paper as my light, and then whatever else is my darks. You know, you want, when in relation to value color, just if you want to mix more white into it, you know, or just mix the color palette. You're always going to create harmonies with whatever you're using if you just use white in the colors. And it's like, it's kind of another tricky way into mixing without the, like you're stuck on like making all those 5 million swatches, and then you're like dying because it's anxiety ridden. If that's you, then me and you, we want to just let go, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's different ways in, and I'm not discrediting how people teach or how it appears, or I'm just saying this is my way, and I'm gonna do it my way. I did it my way. So this is just a toothbrush, and I love a toothbrush as a brush because, well, it makes good splatter, and then it also can really get into a tight area, especially if you're working larger. So when you think about like a mark making tool, this is just a soft pastel charcoal. And this brush, this is a toothbrush, but it has a handle, so it kind of becomes like this like in between thing. It has the tactileness of this, but like the softness of the brush. So I really like that, the way it feels. For me, I'm very kinesthetic and a sensory person all through my body. And I want to like feel that in my hand, and I think that's why I love the mixed media. I love a good scribble. You know, it's not just because I'm trying to be wild, and sometimes I am, but I like love it. Like it's like, I gotta scribble it, you know, and get it out. So what I feel now is this paper to me is full enough. I'm gonna switch it out. That is also a feeling state for me. It has enough going on. It has enough directionality is what I would say. Differences in handprint and pen mark and line. So I just would feel like, oh, that feels like good for now in this moment. And we're really taking it moment to moment, just like day by day. One thing is I do like to use this blue tape. You can just lightly peel it off, and then I don't have to put a pinhole through it, and then I could use it more if I want to. It's just, the clean release blue tape is my favorite by Duck, D-U-C-K, and it has a little duck on it. I found the 3M tape that's blue doesn't peel off as nicely, so, you know, this is something I just learned on my own. I tried a bunch of tapes, the frog tape, the 3M tape, the masking tape, the blah, and then I just use this one. That's just how anything works. You know, your tools, your paint, like, you don't have to be so weighed down by what that is. You know, to me, and this is my ethos and personal statement here, so take it for what it's worth. The artist is found in like the emotionality, the energy, the philosophy even. If you're like feeling locked, just say screw the materials, throw them out, and then use what's around you, but like develop the emotionality and the thinking. That's important, and breaking through the fear, because those are the real big things. It's not really like the actual stuff. It's hard to explain. Is that making sense? Let me know in the comments below if that's making sense, that it's more about the emotionality, the psychology, the fear, the trauma. Like, how are you moving through all that stuff, and are you able to like enter and break that space internally? Now, art making has the ability to help us do that, which is very exciting and very powerful, I have to say, but it can also trip us up. They won't teach you that because that doesn't make for a good sales pitch. what's happening here on the picture plane, it's more than a mark. It's an energy, it's emotionality. And if we look at it holistically, well, the fear isn't thinking there's a right way to do it, to start, but just how you want to do it, really. Normally, when I'm working in a series or in a moment, I'll just use the same things usually that are kind of calling to me and around you. So that's how you can kind of build a series too that flows together, just using the same moment. But also what I noticed over time, the more you know like all your colors, you'll start to know your colors internally. It's not an external thing where you're thinking so much. Like for instance, I go, oh, I always know I use this periwinkle for XYZ, even in mixing, and it becomes like a vocabulary that's living and breathing inside of you. So that's why you want to work on the fear and of like all the stuff and like get rid of that stuff, and so you can like focus on what's really flowing through me and what wants to be expressed. Like maybe I just want to take this black ink right now. Ooh, this is just like a condiment cup. Get it at the dollar store. The fear is in this, right? Oh, what if I do that? Is it gonna ruin it? Or is it gonna be cool? Well, you don't know until you do it. And the good thing about just these experiments is you can always just get another piece of paper. But when you do this over and over and over for years, eventually that fear goes away. And you just kind of, you get more daring. And what else can I do? But sometimes you don't want to do that on a final piece, like this piece, Kismet. I'll put it here. In my last show, Beautiful Mistake, that I was using part of an automatic drawing as my collage base in that piece, and I really did throw the ink on there, and I said, oh no, so you wipe it out, but you get daring in that. You throw it on there, and then maybe you like obliterate it. It's hard to do. Ink is really challenging to take out, so maybe I could just change it by wetting that, and if I don't want it to run all the way down, there's an impression that I get, and that looks kind of cool. Maybe I could use that to start another piece. So I put that over on the side. But now I'm flying there, So what I see or feel, kind of, it's at the same time. This right here, I want to attack that, probably with like some graphite marks or something. There's all kinds of graphite. This is like more of like a graphite stick. Graphite, it comes in different forms: powdered, regular pencils, sticks. So then I'll just go into that. I'm just like kind of filling the space so my eye goes around now instead of just kind of, before it was just going here, but now it goes up into that area, and it's just that real subtle marking moment, although it seems intense, right? So it's that's how this stuff is made. One mark and one moment at a time. But what we want to work through is that those feeling states, and knowing that, oh, I don't have to like not make art because I'm feeling sad. I can take that on and bring that through me, and then I don't know, does that, well, I don't know if that's what that says right now. But you see what I'm saying? Like, but we're sometimes we're getting stuck in the, oh, do I have XYZ? And you think you need all the lists of the materials, and maybe you do, and depending on what your preference is, you know, you might want something different. That's fine. But what I noticed for myself, and over the years, is just that you really want to like let go of what anyone told you that it should be. And that's, here on this channel, that's what I'm helping you do, not just in art, but in living, letting go of all of it, so you can be more free and just not have to deal with all that fear and the weight of what's holding you back from expressing not just the artworks, but who you are, what you want to say. Maybe you want to write words on here. You know, and maybe you want to combine it. Maybe you want to write poems and art. Yeah, maybe you want to dance. You know what I'm saying? But like you feel like you're afraid, and you look silly because it looks weird, or you're all covered in paint and it doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to. Actually, that's like the best place to be. Nothing's working out. It doesn't make sense. So I gotta like interrupt this moment and find a solution. And then I find a way back in to this picture. And that is like living too. So this is my slowed down version and my behind the scenes thoughts, I guess. And I'm sweating right now because it's hot. But that's why I should drink coffee, because that makes sense. Doesn't make sense. It's okay, because life sure doesn't make sense. And I don't make sense, and you don't make sense, and we don't make sense. So why not make art and express and just have fun and find that freedom and come more into who you are? Because I'm not you, you're not me. Thank God, right? Oh, it would be hard to be me. Woo! But what I'm trying to say is that you can only create your mark and moment, and even if we all made X's right now, you're gonna bring your own energy and your emotionality and your intentionality to it. So nobody can steal any idea. Because duh, if you're teaching, you shouldn't be teaching if you don't want somebody to emulate you. Don't be a teacher. I've seen that countless times in the art world. I'm gonna call it out. Here on this channel, that's also what I'm gonna do in a nice way. You know, because those are the things that can really hurt somebody, and I've been in that position, you know, from the opposite receiving end. And that's not fair and cool. Well, you know what they say, life isn't fair. But you know what else they say? Why don't you just make a mark? Oh, but I was talking about X's, like X's that we're gonna make, not, you know, those other X's. So, this has always been my theory. Is so we're gonna make the same kind of mark, and it's just the letter X and an X. But oh wait, you're gonna bring your moment right now, because maybe you're feeling not as crazy as I am. So maybe your X is gonna be like just like these or something. But maybe there's something ramping up inside of you. Woo! And maybe you don't even try to touch the page. It's like swashbuckling graphite X's. So, nobody owns your marks or your moments, and only you can bring yourself to the page, to the experience, to what's lying inside of you, dormant possibly, or maybe it's right there bubbling to the surface. You know, if you're out there and you've ever felt that desire to express, but you hold it back because of the fear. Which we all do that. I still do that. I'm not perfect over here. Ooh, yeah, the toothbrush really does make a good splatter. And you can't really control splatter, but you can kind of control it more with this. You know, fingers are nice too, because it gives you like more of a direct control. It's like uncontrolled and controlled at the same time. So I'm always like kind of balancing between that. Although people may say it's just out of control, it's not really true. It's not true. Like, all these things are been honed over time, carefully considered, many mistakes into the trash, and you know, it just carries on from there and keeps going and keeps going and never stops. You'll never be done, but we should be thankful for that. It means we're alive, we're living, we can feel. We can put it into the artwork and we can learn to heal. Oops. And our paper can fall down. We can fall down. We can always get back up. We can always hang it back up. We can always start again. You get the idea. Whoa. So see right there, it's just like black, but like what I would do is I kind of want to like have a little overlap. Of course, I'm not always using my hand. A lot of times I am, though. There's something so primal about the hand. Ooh. And then you get sometimes the fingerprints in there. And it feels good. So it doesn't really matter what you want to do. It's just up to you. And there really isn't a right or a wrong way. It's just your way. But what it ultimately is breaking through all those fears and all that stuff that's holding you down. Whether it's the past stories or what somebody even told you today, or the feelings, the thoughts that get in the way. For a long time, you know, I couldn't even be visible on camera. I was telling a friend last weekend that I started and stopped this channel so many times. Initially, it was because of my own fear. Fear of being seen, fear of my voice, you know, fear of the not being good enough. Well, all those things, like I'm telling you. That's why I know that over the last decade and more, yeah, I really worked not just in the artworks, but internally to come out of hiding and to be here now to express all of that, and also talking to the other sides, because I don't see it as just one thing here. For me, it has to be about creativity and esoteric thinking and even some spiritual and energetic ideas, because that's who I am as a person. And I encourage everyone to just be themselves in their own sovereignty and autonomy. That's what I'm focused on. It's not an argument, it's just be who you are and find the acceptance with each other in the process, right? And I feel like at the heart of art, it really teaches us that. But that hierarchical structure can be so damaging in so many ways, and I've lived through it and I know. So if you're feeling like you want to break through all of it, then you're in the right place, because I'm here ready to help you do just that. And that's where this channel in my life and art is moving towards. And yeah, I got the power, baby. It's not gonna stop now. We're just getting started, so stay tuned.